Thank you, everybody. My name is Burke. I'm a senior attorney with the Institute for Justice. We're a national public interest law firm that is dedicated to fighting for every American's right to economic liberty, the right to earn an honest living free from arbitrary government interference. We are here today to announce that we have filed a major lawsuit in state court challenging Chicago's unconstitutional food truck law, a law that contains restrictions that were included at the behest of a vocal minority of restaurant owners who have political connections and don't want to have to compete with food truck entrepreneurs like our clients. This lawsuit is part of our National Street Vending Initiative, which is a national effort to eliminate these kinds of protectionist laws and get cities to instead pass reasonable regulations that focus only on public health and safety issues, not trying to advance the cause of protectionism. Chicago is a great city. Unfortunately, it's got some terrible, unconstitutional food truck laws, but that starts to end today. And with that, I'm going to hand things over to my colleague, Robert Fromer, who is the lead counsel in our challenge. So, Rob?
Thank you, Bert. My name is Robert Fromer, and I'm an attorney at the Institute for Justice. Food trucks are a vibrant symbol of the American dream. They create jobs, they satisfy customers, and they enrich communities. But despite all that, Chicago's food truck scene lags behind most of the nation. And that's not due to the climate or to the geography of Chicago. It's due to its laws. Chicago, up until recently, was the only city in the United States that prohibited cooking on board a truck. You couldn't even put relish on a hot dog. So when people heard that the city of Chicago was going to revise its food truck laws, they were initially excited. Turns out, the law that was passed was far less than advertised. Under Chicago's laws, food trucks cannot operate within 200 feet of any fixed business that sells food. That includes not only restaurants, but 7-Elevens, Quickie Marts, and Starbucks. In the law that was passed in July, quadrupled the fines for getting too close to a brick and mortar business. It went from $500 to a staggering $2,000. And lastly, the law that was passed told all food trucks that they had to install a GPS tracking device that would let city officials monitor wherever they go 24 hours a day. All of these provisions have one and only one reason: to protect a few politically connected restaurateurs from competition. But whether your business succeeds or fails should turn on how good your product is, not who you know at City Hall. Ultimately, the role of government is not to pick winners and losers in the marketplace. That's the job of consumers. And that's why the Institute for Justice today filed lawsuit in Cook County Circuit Court challenging the 200-foot restriction and the requirement that all trucks install GPS tracking devices. The Illinois Constitution acts as a check to prevent cities from passing laws in order to simply benefit the politically powerful. And when we prevail, this lawsuit will have national repercussions throughout cities across the nation who still think that they have the right to pick winners and losers. For more on the lawsuit and how the law has affected them, I'd like to introduce you to some of my clients. First client is named Greg Burke, and he is the owner of the Chicago Schnitzel King food truck. Greg?
Thank you. Hello, my name is Gregory Burke. I own the Chicago Schnitzel King. You can see right behind me. I make the best schnitzel in the city of Chicago, and the ordinance that has passed is hindering my business from succeeding. The 200-foot rule makes it extremely difficult to do business, and coupled with the GPS tracking device, which I feel Big Brother wants to watch me, I feel I won't be able to get my fair share on competition in the city. And I'm here to say that I'm going to fight for my right to schnitzel.
Next up, is the Director of Media Relations for the Schnitzel King food truck, Kristen Casper. Kristen?
Hi everyone, I'm Kristen Casper here with the Chicago Schnitzel King, and I'm here today to fight for the American dream. I'm here with my fellow food trucker, Laura from Courageous Cupcakes, as well as the Institute for Justice, and we're fighting for the American dream because right now the American dream is being jeopardized by the way the current food truck ordinance is written. With the 200-foot rule in effect, as well as the mandatory GPS requirement, food trucks are literally being chased out of the city, the loop right here where you stand today. With the 200-foot rule, it's nearly impossible to park legally in the loop. Between us and brick and mortar restaurants, the 200-foot rule makes it impossible. Additionally, the GPS unit we feel is unconstitutional, and we feel it's wrong, and we do not want it on our vehicle. So we're here today to fight for this American dream, and we're going to make it happen and free the food trucks in Chicago.
Lastly, our other client in the case is Laura Pekarik, who owns both the Cupcake for Courage food truck and has recently opened Courageous Bakery in Elmhurst, Illinois. Laura?
Hi, my name is Laura Pekarik, and I own the Green Machine Cupcakes for Courage mobile food truck who sells cupcakes on the streets of Chicago, or would like to. The 200-foot rule has presented a real problem for parking. It is very difficult to park, in addition to the GPS requirement that they're putting on us. These laws are extremely stringent upon us, and it's making it hard for my truck to be a success. We also recently opened up Courageous Bakery, and I just want to live the American dream and be able to sell the product, and we donate a portion of our sales to charity, and we try to inspire, and I'm a part of this lawsuit because I want to fight for what I believe in.
At this point, we're going to open it up for any questions that you may have for Rob or any of our clients.
So you're not, Rob, you're not looking to overturn the ordinance. The only two provisions you want changed is the 200-foot rule and the GPS unit?
That's exactly right. The law that was passed in July had some good things in it, allowing trucks to cook on board, something which, as I said before, the city was the only major city in the country to not allow that. It expanded the hours of operation. Previously, you could only operate from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m., which meant if you wanted to do breakfast service or late night service, you couldn't. So those are good things about the law that we applaud. It's these two specific provisions, the 200-foot proximity rule that keeps you away from restaurants, and the GPS tracking requirement, which lets city officials follow you wherever you go. Those are the two provisions we're challenging.
Would you be amenable to, you want to eliminate the 200-foot rule altogether, or would you be amenable to some sort of compromise with the city?
The distance ultimately with a proximity rule is irrelevant, whether it's 20 feet or 200 feet or 2,000 feet. The intent is the same. The intent of the law is to protect one class of businesses from competition. The government is here to protect our public health and safety, not decide which businesses should be given special treatment. It is consumers who should make the decision about what businesses they want to support, not the governments.
What's the constitutional issue?
The Constitution, the Illinois Constitution, provides protections for the right to earn an honest living. Specifically, Article 1, Section 2 of the Constitution provides that you have the right to due process, the right to economic liberty, and that the government can only infringe on those rights when it has a legitimate reason that's backed up by real evidence of a problem. So if there's a real health or safety problem, that would be fine. But here there is no evidence of a health and safety problem. In fact, the intent of this law is clearly to protect businesses from competition. Every court that has considered that squarely has said that that is unconstitutional. This is one of the very few places in the loop where you can stop and actually serve people without getting a $2,000 ticket from the city. And when I mean this spot, I mean literally these two parking spots. If you go across the street, that would be a $2,000 fine. You go across the street, it's a $2,000 fine. And what it has done is it made it virtually impossible. The 200-foot rule has done is made it virtually impossible to vend pretty much anywhere in the loop, with exceptions of these small places. And that means that the tens of thousands of office workers who every day would like to have something different for lunch, they don't get that option to go to a food truck because the city took it away from them.
Has your clients lost business since the law passed?
Well, I think that's actually a question that's better addressed to my clients. So, Greg, would you like to field this one?
Sorry?
So the question is, how has the 200-footer rule affected your business?
It has decreased it severely. Basically what happens is all the food trucks get pushed into very few areas in order to conduct business. So you have a high amount of food trucks in one small area, and basically the pie is divided so smallly there's not enough to go around, and everyone is scared to come into the loop in fear of getting a $2,000 ticket.
Can you tell me like specific numbers, like percentage-wise, how much have you lost?
We're scraping by. I mean, our existence is just scraping by paycheck to paycheck, which is day to day for us.
Can you operate in other cities with greater freedom outside the city limits?
You could definitely go anywhere else in the country and operate with a greater degree of freedom, without a doubt.
And why do you think that this doesn't work in this restriction in a city like Chicago?
I'm sorry?
Why do you think that this restriction doesn't work in a city like Chicago with so many restaurants?
Why it doesn't work?
Yeah, why doesn't it work?
Well,
From your perspective, from the restaurateur's perspective.
I don't know why they're afraid of us. Competition is the American way. If they don't want to step up their game, I don't know. I'll step up my game. That's no problem. And if I don't do well, I'll fail. If they do well, they'll succeed. And that's how it should be.
Do you think there's even a possibility? I'm sorry to interrupt. Do you think there's even a possibility that it could be a win-win for the establishment and the food trucks?
Of course. Food trucks have only been shown that they increase foot traffic. The community greatly benefits from food trucks, and with the added foot traffic means more people going to restaurants. And it's very simple.
Tell me why you decided to go this way, with a food truck rather than opening your own restaurant.
Money. I don't have cash to open up a restaurant. The food truck was something that I poured all my savings into. I was out of work for a year and a half. I was in construction, and it was something that I could do on my own, and it's been a great experience for me.
And what are you hearing from your customers about, gee, I wish you were here, or maybe you could, do you hear that kind of thing?
Oh, all the time. And they ask, why can't you come by me? And then like, well, I can. I'll get a $2,000 ticket. And they're like, really? I thought the food truck ordinance was passed and everything was going to be great. It hasn't been like that.
Has it been, I'm sorry, I came a little late. Has it been helpful to be able to, because now you can cook on the trucks with the new ordinance?
You can cook on the vehicle now, but that's also brought up a whole another set of problems for food truck people. And that's the list is long, and
the permitting process, the process to actually get a cooking truck on the road has been proven to be very difficult, very circuitous, and I'm not aware of any trucks that are actually cooking on the road right now.
There's no vehicle that's cooking right now in the city.
4 months after the law is passed, there's still no cooking trucks.
We want to be able to hear you. Could you step to the microphone, maybe to switch spots? Thank you so much.
Sure.
What were you saying about this, the actual cooking on the trucks?
Well, the cooking on the trucks was the big reason for the law to be passed in July. But what we've seen since then is that no trucks are actually cooking. And it's because they are having problems going through the bureaucracy with Chicago and all the varying requirements, sometimes contradictory requirements, about what they need to be able to get approved and get out on the road.
Do you think this is just stifling entrepreneurism in a difficult market?
That's exactly what this is. America was built on competition. Competition makes us all work harder, makes us step up our game. The ultimate beneficiaries of that, it's food trucks definitely, but consumers. Consumers are the ones who benefit from competition, from having the options. And for the city to come in and say, no, we're going to make the decision for you, consumers. You can't go to this food truck because we like this nearby restaurant more. That's just not American.
Robert, have you reached out to other food trucks? Because there are a number of food trucks in the city, and I was wondering why only 2 food trucks have stepped into this lawsuit.
We've talked to a number of different trucks. The reason we have 2 trucks in the lawsuit is not just because we're trying to secure relief just for Greg and Kristen and Laura. We're trying to get a victory that will help all the food trucks. So a win for us here will help everyone, whether they're every food truck, whether or not they're a part of this case.
But have they talked to you? Have other food trucks in the city talked to you about it? Because I'm sure a lot of them
Oh, yeah.
are in the same predicament. So I was wondering, why aren't they part of this lawsuit?
Well, it was just, it's a situation where you talk to a number of different people. You want to find people who are committed, who understand the reasons for why we are bringing forth the case and where they believe in the same things we believe in, so we can work towards the same ends.
Laura, can we ask you to come up? You own a bricks and mortar business as well as a food truck.
Yes.
How do you feel about this, the competition aspect, that they park the cupcake truck in front of a bakery and upset their business?
I think I mean, owning a food truck and a brick and mortar is exciting to be part of this lawsuit because I'm from both sides now, and I have been posed that question by an individual from the Chamber of Commerce, and talking about it, and how could I want that? How could I be okay with another cupcake truck pulling up to my shop? And I would have to say, I said right back to him, I said, well, bring it on, because if a truck can put my bakery out of business, they'd have to have a better product, better customer service. And if I'm open for business, and I open the shop because I feel I have an outstanding product, great customer service, and just a lot to deliver and give to the consumer. And if they started taking away my sales on a regular basis, maybe the first day they might, right? They take a little bit away, but I would step up my game. I'd be like, what are they doing? How can I be better? And that's what competition's good for. It improves the options that the consumer has to choose from. It makes us better, and it doesn't make us complacent.
Do you think there's a possibility of bringing in new customers as well?
I mean, yeah, it draws attention. Like Greg was saying, that the food trucks, it create a buzz, especially when I first came on the road in May of last year, and people were like, what is this, a food truck? This is very exciting. And as Greg said, it creates more foot traffic, and it opens people's eyes to their surroundings. In Chicago, we're all busy, and we're like, from point A to point B, but we look around more. Maybe they see the food truck, but maybe they also see the pizza shop as well.
Does the ordinance give a specific reason why a truck cannot be in front of the shop? I know that another company mentioned we don't have a problem with you, but a food truck just can't sit in front of certain businesses. Does it specify why that is?
I wouldn't say that it says in the ordinance, but it's been said by politicians. Yeah. That it's to protect the restaurants. I mean,
Yeah.
you could probably quote it better than I could.
Yeah, repeatedly we've heard from a few politically connected restaurateurs, like Glenn Kiefer of Kiefer's Restaurants, saying that he doesn't want to have to compete. We've heard this from Alderman Tom Tunney, who was one of the sponsors of the law while owning 2 Ann Sather's restaurants himself, saying that he didn't think it was fair to have the restaurants have to compete with food trucks. So it's been clear throughout what the motivation for this law is: protectionism, and that's just not a legitimate government interest.